Hello again, and we're back on the paintbrushes. So today we're going to start to add a little bit of colour to the handles. So let's take them off the rack. I failed to mend this one again. Oh dear. I will do it. Right, there we go. And as before, a little bit of sanding. I'll just do 10. I did the others while you weren't here, and I'll do the same again. These are nicely covered now, much more nicely covered than with the first coat. Look at that. Beautiful. It's a lovely little job, this. Peaceful, quiet, repetitive enough to give you some peace of mind. A little bit of meditation. If there are two of you, you can chat. So you don't really have to think too hard about what you're doing. Now then, I have to think about the size of the brush head and the surface that I intend to paint. Although these will only be first rank brushes, I'll use them to paint the handles of the second rank brushes, and you'll see what I mean when we get to the next batch. But they will also be used on the gnome, and so the hat is going to be red and it needs a biggish brush. So this is 31. It will need a stir, and I've got just the thing. I always think it's such a pity to waste the paint on these, but you can't always help it. Okay. You see what I did there? I picked out this one for the hat and then put it in the paint. This is the same size. Now it will require more than one coat, but it covers well enamel paint. There, that'll do for the first coat. Now, of course, I have to clean that brush off. Put that to one side. Hopefully not contaminate the next colour with any paint from this brush. So to be on the safe side, I shall paint this handle next using a different brush. And I brought some spares. Now if his coat is, if his hat's red, his coat on this occasion will be blue, I think. So again, that's a good size brush to have. We'll use this nice number 50 blue. Where's my stirring stick? It's here. There we go. Well, it might be his jacket and it might be his trousers. I could change my mind. I'll ask him first. He'd probably be asleep, but it's just polite, isn't it? It's just good manners. There we go, first coat. Now, he sits on a throne, this gnome, a daisy throne, and there's quite a large amount of colour. One of these is silver and the other one is stainless steel. I'm not sure which is which. I think that's silver. The stainless steel is just for his pickaxe handle. Yeah, that's the silver there. And this is quite a large area that needs to be covered. So I think a big brush. Yeah, that'll do nicely. The silver is much gloopier, a thicker paint than the others for some reason. It comes off just as well, but so it doesn't really make a difference. Nicer actually to handle. You always have to be on the lookout for stray bristles. And there's another one. It's not too disastrous. If you miss one, they sand away to nothing. But you do want to catch them if you can. There we go, that's a silver one. First coat. Clean these up a little. It's always nice to have a spare and some clean turps. There, that just ensures that every trace of paint is gone from there, or as much as we can hope for. Yeah, that's not bad. It's a little bit cloudy, but we've got as much as we need to there. Now, next, the other part of the throne is gold, and I'm seriously considering using gold leaf on those parts, but for the time being I'm going to just stick to gold paint. I've never done gold leaf before, and it looks as if it might be doable, but I don't know how easy it'll be. You buy books of a very thin, like tissue thickness gold, and it's remarkably inexpensive. I thought it would be a lot more costly, but it's not too bad. But we can always go over the paint. You buy a special adhesive and then brush the gold leaf onto it, and it sticks where you've glued and not in the places that you haven't. For now, gold paint. Although you can see brush marks on these handles, it's quite forgiving stuff, enamel paint, and it does settle, and you won't see too much of that. If it's too bad, again, a little bit of a sand and another coat on top, and try not to put quite as much paint on, and it's good. Gold. Now there are lots of browns in the gnome's outfit. His belt, his boots are two shades, a sand and a leather. So, and they don't need to be massive brushes, so I'll paint that one. Sand first. It's amazing how long this stuff can last, and if it starts to dry, just a tiny bit of turps in it just loosens it up a little bit. And that's good enough. I'm going to use to paint you. You'll do. There we go, that'll serve as the inside, the folded over bit of his boot. When you've finished for the day, these brushes are to be rinsed in warm soapy water, just to get rid of any trace of the terps or the paint that might be left. And you don't want to be running that down the drain. If you can possibly avoid it, do it in a bucket and dispose of it somewhere else. Okay, leather next. If you can't, and there'll be a stage in the future where you can't get hold of enamel paint, acrylic will do, and you can mix up your own individual colours. I buy these ready mixed, but you can mix up acrylics to the same colour, if not the same consistency, and as long as you varnish it properly, you'll be okay. It won't last quite as long. This enamel paint does really, it's good stuff, it lasts a long time, and that's why I use it. Now his boots are fairly big, so another one of these. Let's see. And here is the leather colour that they supply you with, and it is quite leathery, and when you see it on a boot, particularly in miniature, I mean my gnome is a big boy, he's half the size of this table when I sit him on it. But it still looks good. There we are. First coat of leather. That's 6, I'll do another 6. You want plenty of ventilation when you're using enamel paints, because otherwise a little bit later in the evening you'll find yourself blocked up and sneezing, or I do. Right, the next thing is flesh, his face and his hands, and that will require a slightly bigger brush. He's got a surprisingly large amount of flesh visible on his face and his hands. You'll do a flesh coloured brush. There we go. Flesh. And now the next one, and I don't know if I've got enough in this pot. I might have to pop out and get another one. He's got a lot of hair and beard. And the daisy petals on his throne all require a gloss white. Oh, I've got enough. All require a gloss white, and that's what these are going to get. a slightly bigger brush, this one I think. Whoops. I'm all over the place, look at that. Right. You're losing bristles, so we won't use you. We'll use you. Gloss white. And plenty of it. There we are, first coat of white. Get in there. Let's give this a little wash. You might go through a few rolls of this stuff while you're doing a job like this. Don't be frightened to, it's cheap. It's worth spending that extra bit of money on to get the job right. Any job you do will cost money, and you should be aware of that and factor it in. But £2 or £3 on a pack of kitchen roll is a small price to pay for the amount of cleanliness you can get and the lack of cross-contamination of your colours, which you really don't want. Right, well I'm guessing you're probably a bit bored with my drivel and yap, so I shall crack on with these and I'll see you next time. The next one I'm going to do is this green. The daisy throne sits on a grass patch of daisies and the grass itself is quite a big area to cover, so that's the next brush handle I'll do. By the time I see you again I'll have done all of these and they'll be ready for the second coat. So thank you for joining me. See you next time. Bye bye.